No comment and off the record are journalism terms you may have heard of, but do you understand what they mean, and especially what they mean to someone in the news? Hi, I'm Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker. I work with audiences to help them perform better on the job. I pull from a background that includes broadcast news, hurricane relief, and professional ballet. I know one of those might be a little bit of a surprise. Anyway, I worked in journalism for over 10 years, and I learned a lot about terms like off the record and no comment. You really want to make sure in terms of your business communication that you understand these terms and you know how journalists may use them. A couple people have been asking me about them recently. I figured time to do a video. So let's first talk about no comment. So when you say no comment to a question, that means you're not saying anything about it. That's it. It does not prevent a reporter from rephrasing the question, asking it to you again and again, but you can just say no comment. Some may feel that no comment may make you look a little guilty or sneaky. An alternative would be to say, no comment, we will release a statement at a later time. So that way, you're kind of pushing things down the street a little bit. Still, no comment is a comment for the reporter. They can still say your comment was no comment. So you're still saying something. You are doing a little bit of damage control, making sure that you're not necessarily laying facts out there that you're not sure about. And I can understand if there's some sort of breaking problem, maybe even a scandal, you may want to do some damage control first, survey the situation before you make a comment. So no comment makes sense. I do want to talk big picture though, because in an organization, it is really important that you control the flow of information that goes out of your organization. So maybe the big boss and the director of communications, those are the two people who are allowed to comment. Because I may say no comment if I'm the boss, let's say. Communications person may say no comment. But that doesn't mean that a journalist could not hang outside your business on the public right of way and ask everyone who walks out that same question. If one employee comments, even the intern comments, suddenly you have something you can run with in a story. Now, you'd have to attribute it, but still, you got a comment. So it really pays if there's something happening in your organization that you don't want to talk about right away. Make sure everyone understands you don't talk about it. You refer them to these individuals. Control the flow of information. Let's talk about off the record. So if I'm telling some information to a reporter and I say off the record, that means they cannot use that information from me in a story. Now, there are some instances where off the record is very useful. Let's say a business is putting out a product soon, a release. The reporter is trying to figure out when that happens. He or she doesn't want to be scooped. They call every day. Hey, is the product going to be released today? I say no. It happens again and again and again. After a while, I get tired. So I say, okay, off the record, it's probably going to be released in November, and I'll give you a heads up when that happens. So I've told the reporter some background information that can be useful to them. They're not going to be reporting on it, but it informs them and maybe keeps them from calling me every day asking the same question. Off the record can also be useful if there's some sort of question about something that seems unusual. Let's say at the company meeting, maybe an earnings report meeting, an important member of staff is not there. A reporter might be thinking, is there a story there? Has that person been fired? Are they on their way out? They might say, Ken, what can you tell me about this person not being here? I might say, off the record, that person was scheduled to be at the meeting. However, their child had a fall, had to go to the hospital. Everything's fine, but that's why they weren't there. There's no other problem with that person. We love that person. They're working here for the end of time. Don't worry about it. See, it's off the record. It's just giving someone some background. I do want to make clear that off the record has its limits, because if someone asks you a question off the record and you supply information about it, the reporter has that information. They can't say that you said it, and they can't share it necessarily, but they now know it. Give you an example of this. Let's say layoffs are coming in your business. I respond to a question about that saying, off the record, they may happen in the fall. Person cannot say that Ken said that layoffs were coming in the fall, but they know that possibility exists. Again, there's nothing to prevent that reporter from going to anyone in the organization and saying, so I heard layoffs are happening in the fall. See how that's kind of a sneaky question? If one person says, yeah, that's what I heard, boom, reporter now has confirmation that layoffs are coming. It's a little sneaky, but that's how the system can work. So remember, off the record does not erase the information from someone's mind. Think of it more for giving some background, perspective, perhaps hinting at things ahead. But if it's something controversial, it doesn't mean that your off the record will stop the reporter from looking into the story anymore. I mentioned some bonus tips. Something that I think is very important in today's world for interviews: record the interview. This can just be an audio recording. You can use your phone. You want to always have a record of what you said. Not necessarily that I think a lot of reporters are being malicious or doing a poor job, but sometimes a headline writer or the person who is writing the tease of the newscast, that's separate from the reporter you may have talked to. And sometimes the perspective may change because they weren't as directly involved in the story. They may say something that's not accurate. If you have that original recording, well, that's your proof that something was wrong. Hopefully you can get a correction if something like that happened. Hope these tips help. These terms can be a little challenging to understand how they work. You want to make sure you're using them accurately. And again, I really want to stress, make sure your organization, before a crisis happens, has a good feel for how people communicate with the outside world. Let people know that only these individuals are allowed to talk to the media, and really make it clear why you need to control that communication. Because it's very frustrating to try to craft a message and to control perhaps a negative situation if people are leaking information right and left. And they may just be wanting to be helpful. Really make them understand, if we tell you not to talk to a reporter, don't talk to a reporter. Refer them to the correct people. Hope this has helped. I'm Ken Okel. Take care.